Have you ever felt like you're standing at the edge of a cliff, with nowhere left to turn? When the ground beneath your feet feels unsteady, and doubt whispers louder than hope. Maybe you found yourself asking, "Where is God when I need Him most?" If that sounds familiar, then what I'm about to share could change everything for you. Today, I want to walk with you through one of the most powerful promises ever written, a covenant that has sustained millions through their darkest hours. We're diving into Psalm 91, but not as scholars or theologians. We're approaching it as people who need real answers for real struggles. This isn't just ancient wisdom gathering dust on a shelf. This is a living promise, waiting to transform how you face every storm life throws your way. The psalm opens with these remarkable words: "Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty." Think about that word, shelter. Not a temporary hiding spot, but a permanent dwelling place. Not a tent that gets blown away in the storm, but an unshakable fortress. To find this shelter means more than Sunday morning faith or crisis prayers. It means making God's presence your home address. It means waking up each morning and choosing to anchor your heart in His love, not in your circumstances. When you make that choice, really make it, something supernatural happens. You stop being a victim of whatever chaos swirls around you. Instead, you become someone who rests in the shadow of the Almighty. I love how the psalmist gets personal in verse 2. "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in whom I trust." Notice that word, "I will say." Not "I might say" or "I hope to say." I will say. That's a decision, a declaration, a line drawn in the sand. I remember a season when everything in my life seemed to crumble at once. Relationships, health, finances, it felt like a perfect storm of chaos. But in those moments when fear tried to write my story, I learned to speak louder than my circumstances. "The Lord is my refuge," I would whisper in the dark, "my fortress," I would declare when anxiety knocked at my door. And slowly, something shifted. Not in my situation, but in my soul. Here's where Psalm 91 gets beautifully specific about God's protection. "Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence." God promises to rescue you from traps you can't even see coming, from dangers that lurk in the shadows, waiting to destroy what matters most. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings, you will find refuge. Can you imagine that image for a moment? Picture a mother eagle, fierce and protective, spreading her massive wings over her young during a thunderstorm. That's how God sees you. Not as someone who has to figure it all out alone, but as His beloved child who gets to rest under His protection. His faithfulness becomes your shield and rampart. Not your own strength or wisdom, but His unshakable faithfulness. Verses 5 and 6 address the fears that keep us awake at night. "You will not fear the terror of night, nor the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday." Fear has a way of painting worst-case scenarios in vivid detail, doesn't it? The what-ifs that multiply in the quiet hours, the worries that whisper about tomorrow's troubles. But God says you don't have to live enslaved to those voices. When you're anchored in His presence, fear loses its grip. Not because bad things never happen, but because you're never facing them alone. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. This isn't about being invincible or immune to life's challenges. It's about walking with supernatural protection and purpose. It's about knowing that even when chaos surrounds you, your soul remains secure in God's hands. I think about the countless believers throughout history who have clung to this promise. Missionaries in dangerous places, families facing impossible odds, people battling terminal illnesses. They discovered that God's protection isn't always about changing circumstances. Sometimes it's about giving you the strength to walk through fire without being consumed. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways. They will lift you up in their hands so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. God doesn't just promise his presence, he assigns angelic protection. Not just for the big moments, but for all your ways. Your commute to work, your children's safety, your health, your relationships. Nothing in your life is too small or insignificant for his watchful care. You will tread on the lion and the cobra. You will trample the great lion and the serpent. Lions represent visible threats, the problems you can see coming. Serpents represent hidden dangers, the attacks that strike when you're not looking. But God promises you won't run from either. You'll walk in authority over both. This doesn't mean you become reckless or presumptuous. It means you face life's challenges from a position of spiritual strength, not weakness. Then something beautiful happens in verses 14 to 16. God stops speaking about you and starts speaking directly to you. Because he loves me, says the Lord, I will rescue him. I will protect him, for he acknowledges my name. Did you catch that? Your love for God moves his heart. Your acknowledgement of his name gets his attention. You're not invisible in the vastness of creation. You're seen, known, and cherished. When he calls on me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. God doesn't just promise to eventually rescue you. He promises to be with you in the trouble, to walk through the valley with you, not just meet you on the other side. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. This is about more than years on a calendar. It's about a life filled with meaning, purpose, and the constant revelation of God's goodness. It's about experiencing his salvation, not just as a one-time event, but as an ongoing reality. So here's my question for you today. Will you make the choice to dwell in the secret place? Will you declare that the Lord is your refuge and fortress? The invitation is open, the shelter is ready, and God is waiting for you to come home. Don't let another day pass, feeling like you're facing life's storms alone. There's a place of safety, a promise of protection, and a God who calls you by name. Your secret place is just one prayer away.